Okay, so this is the link to download the free software. So depending on the system you are using, I'm currently using Mac OS, Macintosh, Apple. But if you are using Windows, it's almost the same. Okay, so if you click on this link, it will show you this website over here. So all you need to do to download the free software is just enter your email address. Okay, so for example, I enter my email address here. You can download the software to your computer. I think it's about 400 megabyte. After installation, it's about 2 gigabyte. Okay, so you can download the software. So if I click download, it will download to my com over here about 500 megabyte. So I presume you guys have downloaded or installed this software already. So I will proceed to launch the software. So after launching the software, this is what we will see. This is the interface of the Tableau public tool. Okay, the free tool has some limitations compared to the paid version, obviously, because you're using the tool for free. Most of the limitation do not really affect much. Okay, one of the limitation is whatever graphics or visualization you create will be available for everyone to see. So it's a public edition. So whatever files you created and saved on the Tableau server is actually viewable by everyone. So if you want to create something that is top secret, for example, you do not want your competitors to know about your new product or your new software or app or game, you should not use the public edition. Okay, there are some other editions. Of course, you have to pay money. So for now, we just assume everybody is using the free version. So looking at the slides on the introduction to Tableau Labs. So let's go on. Okay, there are a few small minor labs that we will try to go through. How to log in, how to connect to data sources, and try to drag and drop the visualization. Okay, we'll see whether we have time to do the labs at the back. Okay, depending on time permits. So next, let's take a look at how we can connect to Tableau. Okay, the first thing is once you launch a Tableau, you should be able to see the screen as shown over here. So this is the screen of Tableau. On the left-hand side, the column panels, you can see standard data or the analytics panel, which is blank for now because you haven't added any data. The work area in the center here is for you to drag and drop the fields or the columns later on. On the right here, a list of the visualizations or charts you can create later on. So let's try to add a data source. Okay, the steps are slightly changed over here. The slides are unfortunately I haven't updated. My apologies, but the steps are very much the same. So let me show you. The first is we want to open a data source. So in this case, we'll use an Excel sheet of information. So the Excel sheet can be found inside the folder which we added just now. Okay, if you don't remember where to get this folder, the link is inside the page which I sent to you on the chat channel just now. So the link for the training content is on the website here. So if you click here, you should be able to see the bunch of 4 files. Okay, I'm going to download this Excel sheet here called Sample Superstore. So let me click on this file to download on my computer. So after download, I will be able to find it inside my downloads folder over here. So this is the file I just downloaded. Okay, so what happens is I can go over to Tableau. Okay, and at the Tableau top, you should be able to see a menu called data. Okay, so under data, you select new data source. Okay, new data source. Then after that, you can actually add the files that you want. Okay, so many different files, Excel or text or JSON or PDF files. So for now, let's add an Excel file. And my Excel file is inside my downloads folder. So I'll just select the file that I downloaded just now, the sample superstore, and I click open to download the file into the Tableau. Okay, so this is the view of the file inside Tableau. So the Excel sheet have 3 spreadsheets inside. The first spreadsheet is called orders. The second spreadsheet is called people. And the third spreadsheet is called returns. Okay, so you can see the 3 different spreadsheets, orders, okay, where you have some fake data on the number of orders, the ship, customer ID, name of the customer, and so on. And people referring to the names of the user, and also return table where you have this a column or return and order ID. So basically, the 3 tables are actually a part of this some fake data for this company called Superstore, where they actually, if you can see from the information, is actually a data from e-commerce or a supermarket store. Okay, where you link the data between the orders information and the people, like the customer name, and also the number of information the customer return the data and so on. So these are some of the fake data we have inside these Excel sheets. Okay, so let's go back to the spreadsheet here. So after we open up the data source, we can actually double click, and as we have double click over here, we can actually see that the files we have opened up for the editing over here. Okay, so this is how we can edit the data inside the Tableau. What is interesting is the new Tableau version, they actually have the automatic function to link the data, because on the orders spreadsheet, you can see the columns like order ID and order date, and they actually look at the columns and they try and link up the relationship between the different spreadsheets, so that we can see that the people spreadsheet is linked to the orders, the returns also linked to the orders. Okay, so the relationship between the 3 spreadsheets are shown over here inside Tableau. Okay, so we have added all these things already. So we can actually hover over the columns, okay, to actually try to change the information. Like for example, we can change the data type, or we can click the name of the column and rename it, and so on. So these are some of those things that we can do. For example, I can go over to orders. I can click here and I can rename it if I want it. Okay, so we can do minor adjustment or changes inside Tableau also. So it features like a Excel spreadsheet. Okay, it is actually an Excel spreadsheet also, but later on we will see it's actually more powerful than Excel. Okay, so now over in Tableau, just want to explain, they actually access the data in two different modes, the live mode and also the extract mode. So the live mode means whatever changes you make to the data, okay, it is directly reflected on the visualization. So later on you will see when we change the data on the spreadsheet, if it's in live mode, all the changes will directly appear on the visualization or charts. Okay, so this is what we call live mode. For extract mode, it means that we will pull the data into the Tableau engine. There is no connection maintained with the source. So what it means is whatever changes you make is offline. Okay, it's only within the Tableau software itself. It does not so-called link to the real-time software. Okay, so by default, Tableau public, okay, the free version uses the extract mode. That means whatever changes you make is not reflected to the real time. Okay, whatever changes you make is only within this software over here. It does not change the actual data outside this file. Okay, so this is available for the free version. Okay, because sometimes if we want to visualize the data on live data, for example, like we want to draw the graph of maybe the NBA match, okay, live between the Suns and I can't remember which is the other team. Okay, so you can actually use a live mode, but that will only be available for the paid software. Okay, we can also refresh the files to make the changes that's live to, after we make the changes, we can refresh it, make it to the live mode. So like for example, over here, this is how we can refresh the changes, the refresh button. And we can also change the name of the spreadsheet, just like Excel. So over here, now the spreadsheet is called Sheet 1. So we can actually change the name of the spreadsheets. Okay, we can change the name of the spreadsheets and rename it to another different name and so on. For example, let's say I change it to e-commerce. Okay, so I can change the name of the spreadsheet, okay, with these changes, and of course I can refresh it so that it can actually be updated to the data fields and so on. Okay, so I'll just click no for now. Okay, and let's go back to the previous page. Okay, next, we try to connect the data sources to Tableau. So after we drag the changes already, so we can actually click on the Tableau and drag and drop the information. Okay, so by default, the information is a link over here. Okay, in database context, we can actually link up the information in different ways. So for this case, we can actually create the link by using the joint command. Okay, so you can actually look at the link here. You can change the relationship of the linkage. Okay, so in this case, the two tables are the orders table and the people table are linked because they have a common column called region. Okay, both the two tables, order table, have this region column, which is here. Region is here. Okay, can you see this one, this column here? So this column is in orders, and in the people's table, you can also see the column called region also. So since this is a common column in both the people table and the orders table, right, we can actually link up the two tables together by the same column called region. Okay, so in database syntax, this is what we call data join. Okay, join the two tables together with a common column. Okay, so this is called a database join. Okay, so of course we can also create other different connections, not just by join. You can also change the information depending on which information you want to join, the fields that you want to join, and so on. Okay, so you can change the information. Like for example, I want to join with another column like postal code. Also can, but it's not common between the table, a people table, because a people table doesn't have a postal code for you to join. So you can only join using the region column for now, because a region is the only column that is common between the people table and the order table. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so now let's go to the worksheet view. Okay, so now what we'll do is let's exit here and we go over to the worksheet view. If you click on the worksheet tab called sheet 1 at the bottom here, okay, you will be able to see the screen something like this. Okay, so over here you can see now the table or the data tab has been populated with all this information which you added just now. So in the Excel file you added, all the information are over here. So these are the information that we can use to try and draw the charts inside Tableau over here. Okay, so let's try to drag. You can also find the items or the different columns using the magnifying glass, which is the find icon. Okay, so under the find icon here, you can search. Let's say you want to look for a region, you can just type for region. Okay, then you should be able to see only the two tables with the region, that is order table and the people table. Okay, so this is how you can search for the column inside Tableau. Okay, so let's try to draw a very simple chart or visualization. Okay, we have imported the chart already. So let's go over to this spreadsheet view over here. So on the left panel, you will be able to see two different colors or two different groups. One of them is called dimensions. So if you click on here, you can see the different colors as I hover over the columns. Okay, so the blue columns, okay, maybe I should call it the cyan color. So this color is called dimensions. So these are the dimensions. If you hover over here, you can see the color is kind of like bluish over here. If you hover below on a discount or profit, you see the color changes to green. Okay, so the different colors represents different categories of data. Okay, so for the blue columns, it represents what we call the dimensions. So dimensions are essentially the blue color data where we can actually slice and dice the data so that we can try to make the perspective change. Okay, whereas for the green columns, later you will see what we call matrices, which we commonly use for analysis. So you can broadly look at it as the blue where are the data, and the green are actually the rows. So this is the column, this is the row. Okay, so in the blue and the green region over here. So next, what we'll do is let's try to drag the category dimension, the category blue category, to the rows portion over here. So let's try and do that. So let's look for category. Okay, and we drag this category item to the rows. Okay, can you see over here? So after I drag the category to rows, I will plant it here, and you should be able to see under category you have these three data: furniture, office supply, and technology so far. Okay, if I'm going too fast, let me know, and I will slow down and try to uh, guide you again. Okay, next we go and drag the segment also to the rows portion over here. So let's go and drag the segment, okay, over here, and drag this to the rows over here. So now if you see, my rows have actually two sets of data now. One is a category, the other one is a segment. So you can see now my data becomes a little bit more complex, where I actually split the data into furniture or consumer furniture or corporate furniture or home office furniture, and so on. So you have two columns for each data sets. We also drag the region to the columns now. So let's drag the region to the column. So drag the region to the column here. Okay, so now I can see that my data become a little bit more complex now. We classify the data into central, east, southwest region. And finally, we measure the quantity. Okay, quantity measure column also. So let's drag the quantity, which is the green item, to the column. So now you should be able to see that your chart has created, or it has spawned into a series of 4 charts in the 4 regions: central, east, south, and west. Okay, so the 4 regions are actually represented in the charts over here. So you can see the distribution of the data according to the quantity, the horizontal axis, and the vertical axis actually have two vertical category: vertical axis under furniture and the segment. So you can see the data is already distributed over here. So using just simply drag and drop, we haven't done any typing. We can actually create the charts straight away in Tableau over here. Okay, so this is how we can create a simple visualization. Okay, now the thing is, let's say if we look at the charts, it's all blue color. So we want to make the chart a little bit more informative or colorful. So what we can do is we can enhance the display using the colors. So now let's drag the region dimension to the colors option on the marks card. So let's go over here. You can see the marks card over here. So let's look for region. Region is over here, right? So we drag the region category to colors. So now once we release, you can see that the colors, I mean the different regions are now classified by different colors. So central blue, east is orange, south is red, and west is green. So it has classified the regions using colors. So now your chart is becoming a little bit more interactive or more graphical, because it has different colors for different region. Okay, so that is that. Of course, we can also change the visualization we have over here. So the default visualization we have is bar chart. We can actually change the visualization simply over here on the right, show me. So if you click on the show me icon on the top right corner, you can actually see the different kinds of visualization I can choose. So for example, let's say I want to display the data in pie charts. So you can see the same data, but now is displayed in pie chart format. Or let's say I want to change it to what we call the tree map. Okay, so this is a tree map of the same data. Okay, where you can see the size of each block representing the different quantity or the different region and so on. So of course, there are some other options that you can chart, or you can just simply display as a plain numerical data. And so it's up to you how you want to classify the data and so on using the different visualization. So this is the main strength of Tableau. We have created the charts without doing any coding, simply using drag and drop. Okay, of course, later on, as you can see, we will do more complex charts or complex visualization with a lot more different data. Okay, so this is how we can create a simple visualization. So let's say after you finish, you want to save your chart or your visualization. Because we are using Tableau Public, which is the free edition, so we can only save the file on the Tableau Public server, which means everybody can also see what we draw. Okay, so that is one drawback of the Tableau Public, the free version. If you want to create a private file, then you have to buy a license from Tableau. Okay, so for our case, we are just trying it as for academic purpose, so the free one should be good enough. Okay, so let's go on quickly to the other labs. Very quickly, we can change the chart type. As mentioned just now, we can change the charts using the show me over here by tree map or pie chart or stack bar chart and so on. So it all depends on how we want to display the visualization to the reader. Okay. Okay, now let's take a look at how we can use Tableau to perform some basic analysis functions. Okay, so what is the meaning of analysis function? That means we can actually use Tableau to try to calculate certain information. Like for example, in the visualization over here, this is a map or a chart or map of this flight path of a particular airline called Alaska Airline in the American state of Chicago, American city, sorry. So from the city of Chicago, we can actually map out the path or the distance between the Chicago city to the destinations that are served by this Alaska airline. So you can see over here, the length of the line represents the distance, and the color and the size of the dot represents the population or the size of the city and so on. So in Tableau, we can also perform some basic analysis functions inside our visualization. So let's take a look. Same thing, all the steps are over here are the same. So let's try to, we have already imported the Excel sheet. So let's go over to drag a different set of data into our visualization. So let's say I do not want this anymore, so I can actually delete all this. Just press the delete button and delete all the category from the charts one by one. Okay, so now my chart has totally different thing, and I can remove the color also. So I'm back to square one, where I have just the data and plain empty sheets in the center. So let's go over to the part here. Look for this sales measure, which is the green color rows or the axis. So it looks for sales. Okay, sales over here. So we drag the sales into the rows. So let's drag the sales into rows. So now we have the sales information inside over here. So next we are going to drag the order date dimension, which is the blue color option on the top. Okay, blue order date into the columns. So let's go and drag the order date, which is where's my order date? Order date. Okay, I drag order date and put it into column here. So now I can see now my chart has two sets of information or data. The column is sales. The horizontal axis is the years. Okay, so this is the data that we have just added so far. Okay, so the line graph is the default data that they create. Okay, so click on the plus sign on the year in the column shell. So let's go over to the year here and click on the plus sign. So you can see now I can actually split the data into multiple years. So over here, it was split into the years of 2011, 2012, 13, and 14. So you can see the chart changes according to the different years and the trending and so on. Okay, so it was split into the 4 quarterly graphs. Now, let's say we can drag the quarterly graph, okay, the quarter order date to the left of the year order date. Okay, so let's try to do that. Drag this one to the left of the order dates over here to reorder the thing. So now I have the column based on the quarters and also the years. Okay, so the quarters will be on top, followed by the years at the bottom over here. Okay, just now before we drag, it was the other way, the years on top, the quarters below. Okay, so we drag the quarters to the front of the year. So now the quarters will appear to the top and the years will be at the bottom. Okay, so we arrange it in this way, let's say, so we will see the data also change accordingly. And now you can see the changes that are reflected here, the quarters on top and the years below. So next we drag the year from the column shelf into color. Okay, so we drag the year from the column shelf the year into colors. So we want to highlight the different years into colors. So drag the year into colors. So let me drag into colors. And so now you can see instead of having 4 different charts, I have now combined into a single chart. But now the different years are represented by a different color. Okay, so the green color is for 2014, red is for 2013, blue is for 11, orange for 2012. Okay, so this is how I can combine the colors into the different line charts. Okay, so this is what you will see according to the different years that you drag over here. Okay, time check about 11:53, so I need to speed up a bit. Any questions so far from you guys? Any issue with the labs? In fact, I think the lab sheet is very much straightforward. You can even follow the instructions and self-do yourself. Okay, it's quite straightforward. Just drag and drop and follow the instructions. Okay, so doesn't really need much guidance actually. Okay, so is it okay if I speed things up a bit, because I don't think I can finish all this stuff within 10 minutes. Is it okay I speed things up a bit so that You can try out the analysis functions yourself later on. Is it okay?
Okay, okay.
Can so I speed up a bit because a time constraint. So yeah, so sorting, lab 6 basically we'll talk about how we can sort the information. So let's try to maybe I'll also skip this for now. Basically, sorting is to allow you to arrange the data in a particular order. Like for example, you want to arrange it in descending order. Okay, so now your data is before you arrange is like all rojak, some long, some short. Okay, so after you arrange it, you can actually arrange it by descending from the tallest to the shortest. So that this kind of visualization will be useful. Like for example, if you want to do a comparison, say in this case, I want to compare between the most profitable outlet to the least profitable outlet and so on. So this is a way that we can measure like who is the second highest, who is the third highest, and so on. Okay, so this is what we call sorting. Okay, we can also sort based on the color intensity. So this is another region you can try later on. We can sort by the profitability. So that means instead of just the sales numbers, we can also add the colors to represent the profitability. So in this case, we can see that the darker the color, it is the more profitable outlet. Okay, so like for example here, this column, even though it's not the top 5, but because it is dark green, it is more profitable than the 5th or the 4th outlet. So using colors, we can also indicate like different information you want to share with the users. So I'll just leave this for you to try later on if you got time, how to sort the information or try to add different perspective like radio buttons and stuff like that. Okay, so you can sort by descending order or by color and all those stuff like that. Okay, so we want to try out this thing called spatial map file. So Tableau have something that is unique compared to Excel, because Excel can display pie charts and you can display all these line charts and so on. But there's one thing Excel cannot do: display map. So if you want to display the map data, for example, like this is a map of a particular uh, city. In fact, it's a map of Paris. So this map of Paris represents the lines of the MRT lines. They call it metro in the city of Paris in France. So the lines, different color represents the different service lines, like our Singapore North-South line, East-West line, etc., etc. And the circle size represents the number of passengers at each particular station. So if we want to draw this kind of map-related charts, in Excel is a bit more challenging because Excel by itself, it cannot draw these charts. But Tableau is very easy. Later you'll see, we just simply drag and drop the files. You can create this quite easily. Okay, there are some files that contain the spatial format, what we call geographical information. So spatial files, that means the files that contain the geographical information such as your latitude, your longitude, or the altitude information. So all these lat-long altitude information are what we call spatial files. Okay, so they are a special set of files that actually contains all this information. So the common files that are using spatial information like your KML files, stands for keyhole markup language, or shape files, or SHE files. So these are the two most common files that we commonly see in Tableau maps over here. Okay, now let's try to see whether we can download a KML file from the our data.gov.sg. So let's go over to the data.gov.sg and we'll try to download the information about the dengue cluster in Singapore from this data.gov.sg. So let's go over to this website, copy the link, and I'll go over here and I'll just look for this link, data.gov.sg. So this is a website maintained by the Singapore government for open access by everyone, students, professionals, working adults, retirees, everybody. So you can search for free information related to Singapore. All kinds of information available like transport, population, housing, birth rate, all kinds of information available. So you can search for all this information for free, data.gov.sg. So for our case, we want to look for this information about dengue. So let's search for this keyword called dengue cluster in the data.gov.sg. So let's search for dengue clusters and search. And after some time, you will be able to find the data provided by NEA. Okay, the latest 23rd of June this year. So over here, you can see the file format they provide. Okay, so dengue clusters. If you click on the link, you should be able to see this is the GeoJSON file. So there are two spatial files they provide by data.gov.sg. One is called the GeoJSON. The other one is called KML. Both provide the same data or similar data. That means you can actually see the map or the latitude, longitude, positional view of each dengue cluster in Singapore. So on the right here, you can see actually the map that is provided by this data.gov.sg. Over here, the clusters in around the Singapore region. So let's say we look at Tampines. The current cluster for Tampines area is Changi North Street 1. There's a dengue cluster, 2 cases, and so on. And this is the link for the NEA cluster, the other information that are provided over here. So this is the built-in map of the cluster in data.gov.sg. But let's say if you want to create this map yourself inside Tableau, how do you do it? It's actually quite straightforward. So first of all, let's download this file, the KML file. So we go over here, we select the KML file and click download. And once you download the file, it will be a zip file, so you can actually unzip it. So after unzip, you will see that I have the files that are already given inside the GeoJSON file and the KML file. We are going to use the KML file for our Tableau exercise. So let's go over to Tableau and select the spatial file that we just created. Okay, so we can actually delete this for now. So you can actually close this file and create a new one if you want. Let's create a new file so that we can start from fresh. Okay, so now let's say I create a new file which is empty, and I want to import the spatial file for the dengue cluster. I go to data, new data source. Okay, then after that I can click, I will see this option appear. So under the data source, let me look for this option called spatial file. Can you see? Spatial file. And I'll look for the spatial file that I have inside my computer. So for my computer here, just now I downloaded this zip file, dengue clusters, and I select the KML file. Okay, so I'll select the, okay, let me close this because it's a bit confusing. Okay, so I'll go to the select this spatial file, the KML file, and download it. So now after I open the KML file, it will open up in Tableau like this. So the KML file is actually a special spreadsheet that you see over here. Okay, why do I call it special? Because normal Excel spreadsheet don't contain the information such as the link or the description of the dengue cluster. It also do not contain the information such as the dengue information, the position, and all these things. Okay, so this is the KML file, how it looks like in this dengue cluster file we just downloaded. Okay, so now let's click on the sheets tab at the bottom. So let's click on the sheets tab. We'll go to the spreadsheet. So the data has been automatically uploaded over here on the left. So let's go over to click on the geometry under measures. So we click on geometry under measures. Okay, so double click on this. So now after I click on geometry, you will see that the map will be loaded. Okay, so geometry is actually consists of 3 different data. Okay, the geometry consists of the latitude, the longitude, as well as the altitude data. So when I double click on geometry, you will generate the longitude and latitude automatically to the columns and rows, and Tableau will automatically map this data to the Excel, to the map over here, because you have the positional data, longitude, latitude. That's why you can create the exact same map that you see just now on the NEA or data.gov.sg website. Okay, so now let's try to see. We have loaded the latitude, longitude data already by simply double clicking. So let's say we want to add some interactivity to the map, because right now your map is just a map. Okay, you click on this, there's nothing really happen over here. Okay, so let's try to add some interactivity. So we drag the name dimension to the details under the marks panel. Okay, so we drag the name to the details panel over here. So that's what we are going to do. So we go to name and we drag into the details of the marks card over here. So after this, you can see the map has no changes, but if you click on the particular or mouse over on the particular item, you can see now if you click, you will see the name of that particular cluster that you selected. Okay, you can see. Okay, I think for now they only gave it the name like KML number and so on. It's not really a meaningful name. Okay, so this is from NEA. So this is the name of this particular cluster. It's called KML2 by NEA. Okay, so when we hover, we can see that the name actually appears like this now. Okay, so let's say we want to import GeoJSON file. How do we do that? Okay, very quickly. Same thing. Okay, for GeoJSON file, we can use another set of data to try it out. Okay, so for this case, I'm going to use a data set called taxi availability. Okay, data.gov.sg allows you to track the taxi availability data. In fact, you can actually check the real-time data of the taxi in Singapore. That means the position of all the taxis are trackable by GPS, where they are, how many are they, which company are they from, and so on. So let's go over to data.gov.sg. You can search for taxi availability.
Hold on, you're going too fast.
Okay, sure. So
Because I found that when I go and drag geometry, it didn't allow me to. I don't know what
okay.
happened.
Which part are you stuck? Which slide?
So,
Here.
yes, I don't know. Maybe I
Okay.
can share screen also. Can I?
Okay, never mind. I redo again. I redo so you see what I do. Okay, so just now before I started, I was here. Okay, so everything blank, right? Okay, so I start from here. So from this slide, what I do is I look for geometry and I double click. So I go to geometry. Can you see here? Then I double click. I don't drag. I just double click. So once I double click, you can see that the longitude and latitude
Now I
will
saw it
be
already.
auto generated.
Already saw it.
Okay, so you should see the map of Singapore and the position of all the dengue clusters around Singapore. Okay, then the rest I think will be quite straightforward. You can add the interactivity. For example, the names, which is what we did just now. We drag the name to the details. So once we drag the name to the details, we can actually mouse over and we can see the name of that particular cluster appearing when we mouse over the cursor on the cluster block over here. Okay, so this is how we can add interactivity to the different map on Tableau. Okay, so far very simple. We just drag and drop. We haven't done any coding. In fact, we never type anything. Okay, so that is for the dengue cluster example. Okay, so I'm going to show you like how we can look at taxi availability data on the Tableau. So you can actually try this out. So let's go over to data.gov.sg again and search for this item called taxi availability. Okay, so if you click and search, you should be able to see this information over here. Okay, so what happens is this, all the taxis in Singapore are connected to the GPS. In fact, we can trace the location of all the taxis in Singapore real time. Okay, that means basically you can create your own Grab car app. You can create your own Gojek because all the taxis are traceable. All you need to do is just go to this link here and you can call the information and grab all the taxi information over here. So you can click on this link here called try it out and you will execute the information based on the query. So right now, after I click on the try it out, I will be able to see the response at the bottom. So 200 represents the HTTP server code. That means it's a successful retrieve information. And the data I retrieve from the LTA server is actually all this. Okay, so the position of all the taxi position, the coordinates, the timestamp, and so on. So all these things I can actually query. Okay, so you can actually try it out yourself. Okay, so okay, this one I'm not sure all of you can do it or not because this will need to use a bit of a Unix command. So if you don't have Unix or if you are using Windows, don't worry. You just watch how I do. So what happens is I can use a Unix curl command to try and retrieve the information about the taxi from the server. So all I need to do is I'll just go over to the link over here. I'll just click on the get link. Okay, I'll just cancel first and let me get the link. Where's the link? Okay, I want to get the link. Okay, How do I get the link? It's interesting. API view. Okay, never mind. I'll just run it very quickly. Terminal. Okay, this one requires a bit of programming over here. So let me change the text to a bigger file. I'll change the font size so that you can see better. Say to 26. Okay. So I hope you guys can see better now. Okay, so this is the terminal, which I can call the command over here. So I'll just do a curl. Okay, I have a curl. Okay, so let's do a curl command on the this API over here. So -x gets. So let me just reproduce this command. Curl -x gets. Okay, HTTPS API gov.sg 31 transport. Okay, this one I'm not sure, and are you all familiar with this? This is actually a part of the server programming, which you will learn in your year 1 second semester lah. Okay, so right now if you don't quite understand this, is fine, because we haven't got through this yet. Okay, that's great. What happened? Curl could not resolve. Could not resolve .c. Did I type something wrong? Spot. Okay, let me check. Correctly. HTTPS API data transport taxi availability -h. Is this supposed to be capital? Oh yeah, maybe this is capital. Let's try again. Yeah, all right. Let's try. Okay, so thanks for the help. So what I have done is I have actually called the LTA server. This command over here is a curl command. So the link over here is what we call the endpoint. So basically, endpoint in programming syntax is actually the something like your URL, your link to connect to the data. In this case, the data is for taxi availability. Okay, so we can see the files over here is a bit messy. So all the files consist of the positions of the taxis available around Singapore. If you can see the position are actually over here in square bracket. 103 is the latitude, 1.29 is no, this is longitude, this is the latitude. Okay, so you can see the numbers. Each square number, which pair of numbers actually represents the position or coordinates of a taxi in Singapore at this point in time now. Okay, so this is how we can retrieve the data in Tableau, or I can actually export the data file using output format. So I just output to this file over here called GeoJSON. So I'll just do the same command. So now I'll just output the file to external file called vnd.geojson. And everything will be downloaded to this file over here called vnd.geojson. So whatever information I see just now is all over here. Okay. So now after I downloaded this file, I can actually access this file inside my computer. So let me just move this file to somewhere convenient. So let's say I save it to downloads. Okay, so I'll go to Tableau. Okay, so this is for the dengue. So I'll just close this for now since I don't want to look at dengue. I'll go over to, oops, let me open up Tableau. I'll go over to import the data for the JSON, okay, spatial file. So I look for the file in downloads, which is the file which I downloaded just now. So this is the taxi file I just downloaded from the server. So access privilege. Okay, seems that there's some permission error. Okay, let me check again. Okay, I think they make some changes to Tableau. So in the past, Tableau, the free version, was able to open up this file. I'm not sure why 2021, I think they took out this feature from the free version. So free version can no longer access it. Only the paid version can access this file. Okay, so anyway, just show you very quickly. So if you are able to open it, this is what you will see. You should be able to see the file appearing on the Tableau public. And if you open up, you should be able to see the file something like this. Okay, so the file should, the GeoJSON file which you open up just now, you will be able to see the distribution of all these dots. Each dot represents a position of a taxi, okay, around the Singapore. So you can see many dots. In fact, most of the dots are collected near the city region, which makes sense. Okay, and there's also a whole big bunch of dots near Changi Airport. That was last year lah. Okay, this year obviously I think there's no taxi at Changi Airport because Changi Airport is closed. So we should not be able to see so many dots in Changi Airport. But anyway, what we are trying to say is the GeoJSON file will also show you the geographical information, in this case, the position of taxis all around Singapore at a particular time. Okay, so using Tableau was able to open up all this, but now I think the new Tableau, they took out the feature. So lastly, just quickly sum up this one, you can actually create a dashboard. So dashboard is basically interactive collection of all these charts. So just now we have created a small charts like the map, the line chart or the bar chart, and the circle charts and so on. So all these individual charts, we can actually group them together in a single page called a dashboard. So a dashboard is actually a collection of multiple views into a single page, and you can also add interactivity between the different charts so that you can see how the charts interact with each other. So on the Tableau, it's quite straightforward. Dashboard is useful. Basically, it can provide us idea of how the data is evolved based on what we call a story. So in data analysis context, they call it a story because the data is able to show us the information, like for example, a story of how the data evolved throughout time, or how the data is changed with regards to different interaction along the time, or how the data is changed.
Wait, I'm stuck at the one that after I already executed this on my command prompt. The one on the what is this?
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I check with you? Are you using Windows or Mac?
I'm using Windows.
Okay. For this case, I think Windows you need to install special software lah. Because for these commands, the curl command, all these are actually Unix command. So Unix command cannot run directly on Windows. You need to install other software in order to run Unix command. So for that, we will cover it maybe later after this. We'll try and share with you how to do it on Windows.
Maybe next time, Ken.
Next time now. But for now, I just show you roughly on Mac. You can actually do this, or Linux or Unix. You can do this. So this is a Unix command. You can run it on Mac OS. But Windows, you need special software to run it. So we'll cover that later on in another session. Okay. So sorry. So let me just quickly wrap up. I'm overrun already. So create dashboard just simply like this. You can look at the instruction, just drag and drop. Different charts or different dashboards, you can actually create and put them together. So putting them together, if you follow all these instructions, you should be able to create a chart that consists of all the different charts like this lah. Okay, so all these different charts, if you put together, you can create a dashboard that consists of a combination of the different charts that you see just now. Okay, so this is what we call a dashboard. And okay, to sum up this thing, basically you can use the dashboard to try to create your own so-called data story, your visualization that you want to show for your poly EAE interview. Okay, so let's say if you want to go for the EAE interview next year in June, when you're year 2, you can actually create a dashboard something like this. And during the interview, you can show them the dashboard, and to show that you have experience or you have been using this in your higher NITEC, or to add points to your EAE admission. You know what I mean? So basically, these charts, you can export it. You can share the link of the dashboard after you publish, and you can share it with the EAE interviewer in your portfolio and so on. Okay, so all these links, you can actually share it. All the content that I've covered just now are all here, all the links, the data, where I got it from, the transport taxi information from LTA, all the data sources are all over here. Okay, if you're interested, you can also look at the other data so-called stories or dashboard that other people have created.